Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're plunging straight into a truly incredible, grim-dark fable of time and stillness. We're looking at a world where the relentless ticking gears of ambition smash right into the terrifying, absolute weight of total stillness. You guys know the lore, so you know how deep this goes. We'll be using a Fictinian dialectic today, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, to really unpack this profound philosophical clash between the temporal library and the clockwork sovereign. It's all about the true nature of power, so let's just jump right into it.
Listen to this. A will that did not burn, but extinguished. Just let the chill of those words sink in for a second. It's a perfect hook, plunging us right into the deep end. Here, we're introduced to the absolute zero flame. Now, this isn't a fire that consumes or spreads or tries to conquer everything in its path. No, it is a force of total erasure. And to really grasp the devastating power of this flame, we have to look at the exact force it was designed to destroy.
Which brings us to the first stage of our dialectic. Part 1, our thesis, the arrogance of action.
So the clockwork sovereign Sir Brain was operating under this massive, arrogant delusion of mechanical divinity, right? He honestly believed his ascent to power, his dark fire and his honest pulse would let him completely master time itself and build this clockwork empire to bend the world to his will. It is literally the ultimate representation of active, unyielding ambition. But man, he walked straight into a trap. He claimed his ascent was the ultimate power, but the reality was the seventh solitude. Down in that deepest chamber, the seventh solitude wasn't an ascent at all. It was actually a state of perfected absolute stillness that the temporal library itself had inhabited for a very long time. Sir Brain's ambitious dark fire and his ticking honest pulse, they found absolutely zero purchase here. Even the shadow archetype fell completely silent. The shelves in this library, they didn't drift, they just were.
But you see, this absolute stillness came with a horrific cost. 75. That's the number of years that had violently marched on out in the real world. While Sir Brain and his cohort were moving through what they thought were unbound moments completely outside of time, linear time was relentlessly advancing without them. In that absolute quiet, the library essentially spoke without a voice, revealing the terrifying cost of every single folio they had harvested. In what felt like the blink of an eye to them, 75 years had already elapsed. And let me tell you, those years were not gentle.
Geneva underwent this violent industrial metamorphosis. The old stone bridges, ripped out and replaced by cold iron. Quaint little workshops multiplied and just exploded into massive, belching factories. Remember that single violet-glowing spring once left in a gutter? Well, it had violently germinated, spreading its influence until Geneva became this precise, ticking city of relentless mechanics. The city literally transformed into an ironclad factory of mechanical precision, just ticking, ticking, ticking away into a full-blown industrialized nightmare.
And that perfectly sets up the second stage, our antithesis, the power of absence. So while the outside world is ticking away with this chaotic mechanical frenzy, the temporal library just sat there in the deep dark. But it wasn't just some passive room. It was a sentient actor, silently preparing a truly chilling answer. Think about Sir Brain's dark fire for a second. It's self-willed, it burns with sovereign ambition, it's an active, spreading mechanical plague. But then look at the absolute zero flame. This is a fragment the library released decades earlier. It is a sovereign absence. It is so much colder than the absolute ice Sir Brain was trying to conquer. It doesn't burn, it extinguishes. The library didn't counter his action with more action. No, it countered it with the terrifying weight of pure nothingness.
And here's where it gets incredibly eerie. For centuries, this entity of absolute zero flame walked, completely unseen through the accelerating streets of Geneva. While the city industrialized all around it, this invisible being patiently gathered up discarded remnants. We're talking brass, quartz, old pinions. It was painstakingly constructing a mechanical heir, a massive colossus built from tempered silence that required no god and no guest. And its heart, an empty balance wheel, just waiting for a first and perhaps final tick. It's honestly the ultimate manifestation of patient, invisible inevitability. Which brings us to the climax of this whole thing, Stage 3, our synthesis, the counterweight.
You might be wondering, why on earth the dissentient library build this specific mechanical colossus? Well, because in this grim dark universe, stillness itself was about to become the ultimate weapon in a highly precise temporal trap. Decades in the past, the library releases that absolute zero flame fragment. Over the next 50 years, the mechanical colossus reaches full readiness. And then comes the trigger. Sir Brain, the clockwork sovereign, awakens from the seventh solitude and steps back into linear time. But the library doesn't strike right away. It waits exactly 1 year. One precise, deliberate year later, the mechanical heir is finally released.
The tactical genius of that 1-year interval is absolutely devastating. It basically ensures the air rises while the echo of the sovereign's worldy disturbance is still lingering in the air. The library deliberately lets Sir Brain disrupt the world just enough so that its countermeasure meets his exact frequency of chaos. It's a calculated metaphysical strike. The air isn't just fighting Sir Brain, it is neutralizing the specific reverberation of his ambition in linear time.
The library's ultimate defense is perfectly captured in one phrase, the choice to remain forever unwound. Think about that. It didn't just build another mechanical god to smash against Sir Brain's forces. Doing that would just be feeding into the ticking madness, right? Instead, it created a perfected stillness, a sovereign absence that defeats the Darkfire simply by refusing to participate in its game. The choice to remain unwound is literally the only force capable of matching that relentless drive to control time.
As we wrap up the explainer today, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. Does true sovereignty actually lie in the relentless ambition to control time, like Sir Brain believed? Or does it lie in the terrifying power to remain forever untouched by it, like the absolute zero flame? When you really look at the grim reality of the temporal library, you start to realize that sometimes the absolutely most devastating move you can make is choosing not to move at all. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible lore. Keep turning this one over in your mind because the silence it leaves behind is truly deafening.